Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today, for everyone at the Zero Conference at the United Nations, and everyone who is joining us remotely across the world. It's been a pretty amazing experience to be at the Zero Conference for the first time and be surrounded by change makers across the world. We have, individuals from North America, South America, Asia, Australia, Africa, and just everyone working on different problems to make sure that we are creating a more equitable world. My name is Alwar, and I'm the co-founder and executive chair of Fable. And here with me is Toan Dinh, Fable's CEO, an incredible leader, contagious energy, extremely hardworking, and committed to our mission at Fable. To set the stage of the conversation today, I wanted to tell everyone a bit about Fable. We are a Series B company. We are around 65 employees. We are headquartered in Canada, and we serve enterprises such as NBC, Microsoft, John Lewis, Salesforce, in Canada, in the US, and in Europe as well. And we have some of our customers here, like D2L as well. And what we do is we help companies make their digital products accessible by getting insights from people with disabilities. So we have an accessibility platform that enables companies to get insights directly from people with disabilities, and we help companies be more confident about their accessibility performance. So that's a little bit about Fable. But we're not here to talk about Fable as what the company we do, but the journey that we've gone through recently. We did a CEO transition. And this is something that's often not talked about, but it is a really big moment in an organization's journey, from going from a founder CEO to bringing in a new CEO. So what we are here today is to give you practical insights on how that experience has been. So hopefully anyone who's going through this transition can find that useful. And to let you know that this is a very active experience, because we did this transition 5 months ago. And so when Toan and I are going to be talking about this, it's going to be real experiences that we've been through very recently. And we're going to do this talk a little differently, where it's not just going to be me as moderator and asking questions to Toan, but we decided that we would keep this as a conversation where we would ask each other about questions about the journey. So let's dive in. Toan, I'll throw you the first question, which is, when you stepped into Fable as CEO, what surprised you most, and what turned out to be harder than you expected?
Thank you, Alwar. And before I answer the question, Alwar and our Abid as well, our co-founders, Alwar and Abid, the combo at Fable for the past 7 years. So I want to start, this is how rare of a chance do I get to be in front of the right audience, and I believe this is also streaming. So I want to give a shout out to our founders first. If I have all my clapping going, this will be it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's a journey, but it's been 5 months, and I have to say I've been in the business for about 15 years now, and this is probably the best experience of a transition I've had so far. So I was so thrilled to be invited here with Alwar to share about the transition period. But to answer Alwar's question, what surprised me the most since started is I had to unlearn what I know about accessibility. Let's start with that. Wow. I've been in tech for 15 plus years, so tech, business, growth, all those things are not foreign to me, but accessibility, inclusion, the impact of it, the nuance, the intricacies, and the history, and the effort to date, all of those things for the past 5 months, I believe this is the areas of knowledge that have accumulated in the fastest way possible. And I have a different lens, different appreciation, and the highest level of, I would say, curiosity, just ignited even further for the area of accessibility. So not a surprise, but a delight since I joined so far of what I didn't know about accessibility and how much I know now. And I realized how little I still I know so far that I need to learn so much more. Zero Project, shout out to you as well as an event. This event is really an eye-opening for me. So not so much on the business side surprise, because we always have a mission to accomplish as a business. We want to grow. Fable's on a trajectory for that, and there's excitement from a commercial perspective, but our mission is unchanged. We still want to be the world brand when it comes to what we call accessibility research. And so to answer the question again is, accessibility is an area where I know so little, and I can't wait to learn a lot more. But thank you, Alwar.
Cool.
Maybe I said to Alwar that, this one I get to grill her a little bit just to give you a little bit of fun since we're transitioning. So let me start with that. So she threw me a really tough question. I'll ask her, Alwar, what told you that it was the right moment to pass on the baton? Like, if I'm the audience, I'm probably thinking, when is the right time? Have you thought about this? And where did it come from? And what's the hindsight?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and one that I've been asked a lot often, especially since we've done this transition. For anyone who's been in startup, it takes a lot to get a startup off the ground. And so when my co-founder and I decided to start Fable, we set a few milestones that we wanted to be able to reach as a business, in terms of a certain scale, in terms of the impact that we wanted to have in the accessibility and disability community. And it took us 7 years to get to that milestone. And when we did our Series B, we have great investors. Five Arms has been a great partner for us. We had an honest conversation of, Series B to the next stage is going to be at least 5 years to where we want to be. And had an honest conversation about, Alwar, do you have it? Do you have it in you? And it was 8 years of a lot of work. And at that time, I was like, no, I think I set a milestone. I achieved that milestone. And now is actually a perfect time to do a transition so that we could bring in, a leader like Toan who knows about, global expansion to help the business for its next chapter. And for me personally, it was a big win. My background before starting Fable, I was a designer. I knew nothing about business, complete opposite of Toan. And I had to learn a lot. I had to learn a lot through the process. And I'm really proud of the place we got Fable to and the amount I got to learn through it. And now I get to be, I told the team this as well. It's not that I'm going away from Fable. It's just that it's a different view for me now. I'm around for support, but I also get to see the business achieve a much bigger footprint, and that's always been the ultimate goal for us at Fable. So to answer the question, yes, there was a milestone that I had set, and we achieved that milestone.
Or if I'm the audience, there's another question that popped into my mind as you're talking. So as you're stepping out, how is that emotionally for you? Was it tough? Was it hard? Like, give us a bit of something,
real?
Yeah, something real. How do you feel as you step out? If I'm the audience, I probably wonder about that.
I was supposed to be the moderator, but it looks like Toan's taken over. But I love the question. It is an emotional journey, because you've put your blood, sweat, and everything into the company for the last 8 years. And for me, it was so much more about how much of my own personal identity was tied to being CEO of Fable. And all the little decisions and the details that I had to pay attention to, the weight of the company and the responsibility of the individuals that were part of our company, it took a lot of space. And then suddenly you're inviting someone in to take that space now. And that's a transition. You're going from being extremely involved in the business to being intentionally removed. There were so many times as we went through this transition, and Toan and I would debrief after the end of the day, but there were times where I wanted to jump into a conversation because I knew what the problem was. I'm like, we can solve this, but I had to tell myself to pause and say, is this my problem to solve now? Is this my responsibility to solve now? And it was no. I have to give space to people, and I have to trust people, and trust Toan and the team that we have, and trust in myself and the decision that we made. And so it has been a bit emotional, but I think giving that trust has been really interesting to see, because just seeing how Toan is leading the team and the team growing and individuals growing, for me, has been really rewarding to watch.
And for those of you who don't know, Alwar really walks the talk. I'm not buttering her up at all. This is truly what she described as happening in real time. So you're getting the front end of it. But I promise one more. I'm going to grill her one more for you, okay?
Okay, then I'll throw you the next one.
Well, it's how do you balance stepping, drawing the line, being meaningfully involved in the business still, because obviously our founders, Abid included, and they still have very, very good interest commercially and relationship with the business. So that's not going to go away, and that's a good thing. But how do you draw the line between getting involved, meaningfully involved, before and after?
Yeah. That's a good question. And when we decided to start this transition, I had a couple of conversations with founders who have passed the baton, and I asked them how that experience was and what they learned from it. And one of the things that really stuck with me was one of the founders said, "You're going to learn so much about the company that you built being led by someone different. You'll learn so much about your team. You'll learn so much about your team's potential and what the company can do." And when he had said that, I didn't know what it meant. But now, 5 months in, I've not heard like a truer statement. It has been really eye-opening for me to see how the company is operating now at the scale and caliber in which we're starting to operate. And it further validates, this transition that we did. In terms of how hard it is, I think it's important to give space to the organization, and that's something that I've also done with, the teams that I've had. As a founder, it's really easy to want to solve every problem. I think that's what makes founders amazing. Like we want to be in the weeds. We want to solve every problem. We will not let anyone fail. And that's what it takes for an organization to go from 0 to 1. But it's a different set of skills and different set of operation techniques that are needed for the next stage of growth. And that's how we've set up the organization now. So, Toan, with that, let me throw you a question, because this is something I know a lot of people were interested in when we announced it. We had questions from customers, from partners. And so, as you step into this role and taking full ownership as CEO, how do you still honor the organization's mission and some of the core cultural values of the business?
Thank you, Alwar. This would have been a tough question if it wasn't accessibility. It would have been a tough question. But this one, I have an easy cop-out and authentic one for you. It wasn't hard to keep the company's mission. It wasn't hard. As I mentioned earlier, for the past 5 months, I had to unlearn and relearn the intricacies of accessibility. And so even as of right now, nor the foreseeable future, our mission is still very, very simple at Fable. As a matter of fact, I would shout out to all the entrepreneurs out there who's building a business to move the needle of accessibility across the world. Those needles are not easy to be moved. So that if you're an entrepreneur and you're willing to do that, then stay on that mission, and so are we. And Fable's 7 years old. We're not a baby or an infant anymore. We're an adolescent, perhaps. We're a teenager now. We have a little bit of maturity, but we still have a lot of things to figure out for ourselves. And we're really, really excited. So, no, it wasn't hard at all to keep the company mission. It stay intact. As a matter of fact, it's more invigorating to continue the baton from here. But what needs to change is we need to take more risk. We need to explore more ideas. We need to operate differently. We need to move quickly. Because at the end of the day, we need to survive. We need to grow. And the only way to make an impact is to have the ability to make a bigger impact. And to build on that ability, we need to grow. So growth, impact, and stay on the mission, easier said than done, but we're on it.
Perfect.
Maybe as we wrap up, I'll throw you one more. I promise, audience, thank you for your attention so far. But what advice do you have for other entrepreneurs out there? This is Project Zero. This is the theme. What's the one thing that you would give advice to future founders like yourself who's trying to move the needle on accessibility? Go for it.
I think just be really focused on the problem that you're solving. I think the environment is changing rapidly, and I think as you stay focused on the problem, you will deliver value and you will be able to navigate whatever environment that your company has been presented to. And I think that is, as long as you're adding value, you will continue being a business. So with that, I know we're a bit over time, but hopefully everyone found this really valuable. And thank you all for everyone in person and online attending the session.
Thank you, everybody. See you soon.